I remember when I started fishing all those years ago, I really couldn't wait to get started. But once I delved into it, there were so many things that I needed to take into account, so many bits and pieces. I didn't really know where to start, but thankfully, you don't have that problem anymore, thanks to Shakespeare's new kits. This one here is the 12-foot match/float kit Challenge XT. So let's open it up and see what's inside. Right then, so I've got everything out of the box. I'm going to give you a little rundown of what's in there. First up, of course, the big bit is the rod. Now, it's a 3-piece rod, it's a 12-footer, and it looks like a nice rod, to be honest with you, just on the basics of it. Nice graphics, nice little bit of a cork handle. Can't wait to give that a little go through. Got a reel, which has already got line on it, so you don't even have to spool it up. Again, the colours match the rod, always a nice little bit of aesthetics. And then we've got the bits and pieces, which are obviously just as important. So we've got 2 wagglers, which are the floats. We've got a disgorger, which will help get the hook out when it's gone down a little bit deep. We've got shot, which will help the float sit up in the water. We've got a plummet, which will help you find the depth. And then the last thing is a packet of hooks to nylon. Now, these are barbed hooks, so when you go fishing, make sure you check with the rules at the fishery that you can use them, because not all fisheries do allow them. So let's put all this together. Let's go floats fishing. Right, so we've got all the kit set up. Really simple setup. First thing to do, get the reel, secure it onto the handle. That's really easily done. Run the line through the eyes, take the bail arm off so you can run a line through the eyes, out down the other side, and then we basically put a shot on the line, float in the middle, and another one on the other side just to secure it in place. Put another shot down here, just so that when you put the float, we just have the red bit showing. You don't want the rest of it showing, otherwise you won't see your bites. And then we've just done tied a little loop in the line, and then we've got a packet of hooks to nylon. Unfortunately, we couldn't use ones that were supplied here because they're barbed, and we need to use barbless here at decoy lakes. And then we're going to put a grain of corn on there. So we're on Willows Lake today. There's a lot of fish moving around. There's everything in there, from small roach, F1s, big carp. And my plan is behind me, there's a platform, and it just gives them a little bit of cover. Just going to put some pellets down there, a bit of corn on it, drop the float down, and fingers crossed, they'll be well up, and we'll catch a big fish. So let's see how that pans out. Upped it that way, decided to go this way. So this combo altogether is $99.99. And I'll tell you what, it's a starter kit. But that's not a bad rod at all. Again, like the thing to remember with this, it's a starter kit. It's about getting the fish in. It's not about how soft the rod is and things like that. It's about getting you interested in fishing. And if it can get the fish in, that's exactly what will happen. And as you can see there, it can get the fish in. Now that's no small fish. That's an F1, a very active F1 at that. And it can get fish of that calibre in. And dare I say, I think I'd get even bigger fish in. But it's a lovely bit of kit. If you want to start fishing, you cannot go wrong with this sort of kit. Everything's in one place. You can catch quality fish like that. And ultimately, that is what's going to get you hooked on fishing and make it something you want to do week after week after week. When I first got into fishing, I used a rod and reel. But when I introduced my kids to fishing, I put them onto a pole. I just thought it was simpler, less tangles, and it's worked a treat for them, to be honest with you. Thankfully, Shakespeare have got us covered yet again. Everything that you want in this kit, the pole, all the bits and pieces. Let's see what's in this one. Right, so the first thing that we want to look at is obviously the pole itself. Now I've had it out, there's 6 sections in there, including the butt section, which is the top section with the graphics on. So at a guess, that's probably going to be about 10 or 11 metres out. I saw a top kit in there when I had a first glance, and then I went inside and there's another one, so you actually get 2 top kits with it. And it's for a penny under 70 quid, so that's a really good thing. So that means you can have 2 rigs on the go, maybe if you want for fishing close in, one for fishing further out, different depths, just gives you a few more options when you start to advance your fishing a bit. And then in the little box, we've got 2 pole rigs, which we'll have a closer look at afterwards. These have got barbless hooks on. I've had a quick look at those, and they'll be usable at any fishery, so no concerns there. We've got a plummet to help you find your depth. We'll show you a little bit of how to do that in a moment. And again, we've got a disgorger, just in case the fish takes it down a little bit. When you're finished at the end of the day, little bag, pack it all away, and you're good to go. So, let's see what we can catch on this. Right, so we're ready to go. I'll put all the sections together, really easy process. Just put one into another until you've got as many as you need to go as far as you want. And then you attach a rig onto what's called the top kit. This is the end bit, which has the elastic in. Now the elastic basically takes the cushion. When you hook a fish, that stretches out so you don't break your pole basically. You get the rig, which I was showing you before, and they attach on to the end of here. There's a little connector, And then it's just what we're going to do now. You put what's called the plummet on, and that helps you find the depth. It's a really simple process. You put the hook through the loop at the top, run it down to the bottom, and then into the foam. And then that just sits there ready. So you drop that in, put your top kit onto the rest of your pole, and just ship that round. Today I'm going to come down near this platform. This is where I think there'll be some cover for the fish. What we do, watch that plummet. We lower that in, and what we're trying to do is feel the bottom. And now I can feel it. You feel it stop. Now that is where my float's sat. What you're trying to do is get just the tip of that showing. That shows you that the bait is just touching bottom. Float 6 under, that means you need to pull it up the line a bit to add a bit more depth. If too much float's sticking out, you need to bring it down. So when you feel the bottom, that's the red tip just wants to be showing. That's how you want to plumb up when you're fishing on the bottom. So let's ship in. I need to take a couple of inches off that, get a bit of bait on, and let's see what's lingering down there. So I fed a little bit of bait down by that platform, and it ain't taken long to get a bite. Feels like a nice fish. And what the aim of what I'm trying to do here is simply get the fish in. We can get bogged down. When you've been fishing for a long time, you can get bogged down in technicalities. You can get bogged down in the idea of how light's a pole, how stiff's a pole, what elastic does it take. This kit is made for beginners who want to get into fishing, and if you think back to when you first went fishing, all that mattered was getting the quarry in. And if it does that, it's done its job. Now at the moment, I'm seeing nothing to suggest I ain't going to get this fish in. And if you get this fish in, that's one for the album, it's one to show your mates on social media, and you're going to stick to fishing. And then from then on, you advance it. It's like any sport. It's like when you first played football, you got the cheapest football boots. Got you into football, you loved it, and then you got expensive ones. And it's exactly the same in fishing. You can always step up. And I tell you what, I don't know what's on the end of it, but if this was the first fish you ever landed, then dear me, you'd be pretty excited. If you're watching this and you're a seasoned angler, you'll be looking at that top kit going, oh, look how much bend it's got in that elastic's too soft. Yeah, I'd agree. But it's not what it's about. It's about getting people fishing for, like I said, under 70, it's $69.99 for this kit. And if people pick this up, they've got everything they need. They go out on a lovely day like this, put a few fish in the net, they're going to come back. And that's another angler who's going to have bought a rod license, who's going to be supporting the industry, and just going to be enjoying themselves. And that's what we're trying to do. I'll tell you what, whatever it is, what a day to be out fishing. Well, is this going to be the moment of truth? The one thing I would say about the kit is that the pole rigs are tied up a little bit long for most of the things, so you just have to cut them down. We plumbed up down there, and when you plumb up, you basically hook the little plummet on, and you lower it in until the float sits just above the water when you feel it touch the bottom. You only want probably 1 to 2 foot of line between your elastic and the float itself. Otherwise, when the float goes under your strike and you just don't pick up into it. So cut the rigs down if it's still a little bit long. I'll tell you what, just looking down that platform, there's still fish moving around down there, so I don't think he'll be my only one if I want to have another little dabble. It's the important thing when you're pole fishing as well, just take your time. There's nothing to rush. When it's a big fish like this, as I've said a few times, you want that picture. You want to get your camera phone out, you want to show your mates. And if you rush too much, you just lose it and you lose your moment. Like I say, there are plenty of these fish in here, but the next one you could go in might not be as big as this. Probably won't be, to be honest with you. Come on. It's definitely tiring. Oh, there we go. Just look at that. Probably pushing 10 pound that. Imagine if that was your first fish. And the kit has got it in. That was the aim of what we're trying to do. Strong enough, yes. Everything, the pole, the line, the float, it's got that fish in. And if you catch that as the first one, I guarantee you, you'll be back on the bank soon trying to catch another one.